Hi everyone, welcome to my hits and misses for the month of August. Now these ones here are going to be misses for me. And I don't have too many to talk about, they're just three. But these ones really just didn't do it for me. And I'm going to explain the reasons why they didn't work for me. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Morning Glory Milking Farm by C.M. Nascosta. Now this one here, you have the characters of Violet and Rourke. Now Violet is what is in the synopsis as a millennial. She's about 25 years old and she is really struggling to find work, after college. I've found that with certain jobs out there where it's like you struggle to find work. It'd be nice if these colleges would let you know, hey, this is kind of like a harder field to get into when you get out of college. Maybe you should go for something else. But for them, it's a money thing. They got their money. So we've got her that is struggling to find work and she doesn't want to go back home to live with her parents. I can understand that, but if desperate times call for desperate measures kind of thing. So she decides to work for this company that's called a milking farm, and they milk minotaurs. Now these minotaurs, the only thing I can kind of come up with is that they kind of remind me of the characters from Zootopia. I could see there's Mayor Lionheart where he wears a suit, but he's a freaking lion, So this here, it's this man Rourke is a minotaur. He's a beast kind of thing, If he looked more human, I probably would have liked the book more. But the fact that he looks like a minotaur, he has the face of a minotaur, his snout, the nose ring and all that stuff. He looks like it. And to me, it's it reminds me too much of I don't want to say the word, but I'll have to put it right here. I don't want YouTube to ding my channel because I say the word. But it just reminds me too much of that, and I really just didn't care for it. I thought it was fine, but it could have been better. And then also what really kind of turned me off about it, besides the whole couple thing, it was the fact that she was you would see her daily thing of her doing it to others, not just him, but others. And I was I don't care. And then it showed her talking with these other characters, these other side characters, excuse me, these other side characters, and I just didn't care. I'm I don't care about these side characters. What's going on with her and this minotaur, So I really just didn't like it. Now see, alien romance I like, but it depends on the type of alien romance, because if it's too weird, I'm not digging it, So that's what I think I just disliked about this book, is that it was too he was too looking like a beast. If he looked a little more human, maybe he's got more of a human type of face type of thing, but maybe he's got antlers and things like that or whatever, then I can kind of get over, but this one here was too much. Sorry, I got up early. And so he was too much like a minotaur, and it was just it didn't work for me. I would have liked it if the writer wrote it a little bit differently. So the next one that really just didn't do it for me was a part of the Steel Bones Motorcycle Club. Now this one's technically number 1, but as I stated in my other video, you have to to me, I think it's better to read these books in order. And the first book, technically, I would say you should read is Twitch. Twitch is like a prologue kind of thing, you know? It kind of sets up the story a little bit more of the motorcycle club. So we have Charge and Kayla. So there's a trigger warning in here for talk of sexual assault and like teenage pregnancy. So what really kind of made me dislike this book is Kayla's 21, which is fine. You know, she's 21. She has a 6-year-old son. So she obviously got pregnant when she was a teenager. And I felt like her character was a bit immature, you know? Now, I guess you could say, well, she's 21. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. She is 21. But I would have thought like she would have grown up a little bit for the fact that she's got a 6-year-old child, you know? And then you have the character of Charge, which he's kind of like, he's a little bit immature. I can understand his ex's reasonings of why, you know, she basically broke it off with him. And so he was a bit immature for me. Like, he needed to grow up a little bit more. And when he met Kayla, you know, he really like was instantly attracted to her. You know, he thought she was really attractive. And then he realized that, you know, she had a kid, you know, and it kind of like almost like really was like, I don't want to get involved with a woman who's got a kid. But he really started to befriend the kid, you know, Jimmy. He really started to befriend Jimmy and really started to like Jimmy. He's like, oh, this kid's pretty cool, you know. And so he decides, you know, they start kind of like getting involved. The thing that really irritated me about this book, sorry, dang, stop yawning. The thing that really irritated me about this book was the involvement of her parents. Her parents were really the detriment to her. I'm, you know, as my on my thumbnail, I say I'm going to talk about spoilers. Here's spoilers. She was sexually assaulted when she was a teenager, and Jimmy is a child of rape. You know, he is a child of sexual assault. And instead of her parents being like sympathetic and getting her like therapy or, you know, having her take like child development classes, things like that, you know, there are classes you could take to kind of help you, you know, be a better parent. You know, you could take different classes, you know. Nothing really prepares you for being a parent except experience. I'll just say that, you know. I think the more you're around kids, like especially when you grow up, the more you're around kids, the more you could take to becoming a parent, you know. If you've never been around kids growing up and never really like took care of like babies when you were younger, when you get older and you have children of your own, you may not know how to change a diaper, you know, how to birth the child, you know, all that stuff, you know. You may not be prepared for that stuff. So you have to learn that like really quickly, like on the go. For me, I had a little bit preparation because my sister and I are 12 years apart. So when I was basically a teenager when she was a baby. So my mom taught me different things of like, you know, how to take care of the baby, how to change the diaper, all that stuff. So for her, it's like she was assaulted. Nothing was done about it. You know, the boy who assaulted her got away with it. She couldn't remember who he was because she obviously was roofied, you know. As a parent, and I find out my child got assaulted at a party, oh, you be damn sure I'm finding out every person who was at that party. So they're going to get questioned. You know, I'm going to find out exactly who was at that party so we can narrow down the suspects, because this person's not getting away with it. You know, I will spend the rest of my life making sure this person is not going to get away with it. You know, and so to me, she could have gotten help and she didn't get that help. So maybe that's why she had a bit of like immaturity. And also after she had her son, she was going through obviously postpartum depression. That's what I went through. After I had my first daughter, I went through postpartum depression. I honestly don't know how I had gotten through that time. I really don't. I got no help, you know, barely any help from my ex. And I was doing it by myself. And, you know, I was in a really dark space there. So I can understand her not wanting to feed her child and all that stuff. I pushed through, you know, and I, you know, still fed my child, got up and fed my child, got up, took care of my child, but feeling really down. And so she clearly needed help. So the stepmother, not even her own mother, her stepmother and her father took her child away from her for a year. A whole freaking year. That would have devastated me as a parent, having your child taken away from you. You gave birth to that child. You went and had that child. This is a child of sexual assault. Yet she didn't take it out on her son. She didn't take it out on her son. She went and persevered and she kept going. And like I said, the biggest thing that really just made me dislike the book was that, you know, she, you know, just kept like messing up and doing things. And I'm like, girl, you know, you're a mom now. You're a mom. Learn this stuff. You know, learn this stuff. So that way your a-hole parents don't have anything to throw at you. You know, they can't go and keep saying, oh, well, you have to do this, you have to do that, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. Don't give them any fuel for that fire. Don't give them any fuel. So, for her, what really helped her was having charge in her life, you know. Him really being in her life really saved her, I would say, because, you know, even though he was a bit of an immature character himself, I think being around her and the boy, you know, being around Jimmy, really kind of grew him up a bit, you know, and realizing that, you know, there's more to life than just about him, you know. And so it was decent. It was a decent story, but because of the immaturity of the characters and the parents' involvement of like everything she did, oh, it just really kind of depressed me a bit. It really depressed me. And I wanted it to be a little bit more of an uplifting story. And that's why I ultimately ended up giving it a 3, because it could have been better. So the last book I'm going to talk about is what really just didn't do it for me. Is a part of the same series. So we have, this is Nickel's story, Kate C. Wells. And I ended up giving this one a 3. Now we got Nickel in story. So there's trigger warnings here for talk of domestic violence. Now, story, she's a stripper. And she's been a stripper for a little while. And she's kind of like dealt with some things, you know, in her life. And for me, I really felt like Nickel needed therapy. Now, he ended up getting therapy throughout the book, but he really needed therapy like before, you know, he even thought about trying to get involved with story, because she really needed like someone there for her that was not a hothead. This guy was a hothead. This guy was, I would say, like a psychopath, a bit of a psychopath. He raged. He got out of control. He did things. He hurt people. He killed people, you know. So he was really not a good person. And I really felt like he needed to really own up to his mistakes and say, look, it's sad that you dealt with domestic violence as a child. You know, it's really sad that, you know, you had to see that, you know, and grow up with that. But instead of continuing on with the same cycle that your family did, be better, you know, be better, do better. And it took him a while to kind of like realize that he needed to be better, you know, for her. He basically has been, you know, like watching out for her for years. You know, it was kind of boring, and that's why I ended up giving it a 3. Besides like his rage issues, the book was a bit boring to me. And for me, it's like I did want more from the story than what we got. It was just a lot of like his like journey to realize that, you know, don't fly off the handle so quickly. Learn to control your anger. They literally, part of his crew were like scared of him. And they literally had obviously giving him, I'm assuming they gave him a couple of anxiety pills because it was something that they had got from one of the other ladies, a part of the motorcycle crew, one of the other older ladies. So it obviously, to me, I'm thinking it was like an anxiety pill, and it helped to calm him down so he wasn't quick to, you know, like snap. And so for me, it's like, dude, you need to be on some type of anxiety medication. You need to learn to control your anger. You need to go to anger management. Now I can see like you wanting to protect your crew and all that stuff. Totally get it, you know, totally get it. But there are ways that you can protect your people without going into a rage and, you know, being all like hulked out kind of thing. You need to learn to control yourself. So for him, it took him a little bit to learn to control himself. And I really liked I really just, the whole like his kind of thing, and it really kind of took away from the story. And I really wanted more of the love story in it. So that's why I ended up giving it a 3. With her books, she's kind of like up and down for me. I want to keep continuing on with the series, obviously. I'm hoping that the next book, I think the next book is Heavy. That is the latest one to come out. But I am going to be reading a couple of other books that are part of the series that I haven't read yet. I'm reading Roosevelt right now, which is a novella. Then after that is 40, I think, or Plum. I think it's a book called Plum. And there's another book called 40. And that'll be I'll be updated with the whole series. And then the new book, I think, is coming out this month or next month, something like that. It's coming out soon, where it's got Heavy. And Heavy is he's like the president of the MC. It's his story that's going to be there. So with this one here, I would say, like, out of all of Kate C. Wells's books, Run Posey Run is probably the best one. But I will say that some of the other stories I really enjoyed too. So for her, I definitely want to see where this author goes with her writing career and stuff, and see what else she does. Because I do like her writing, but not all of them are hits. Some of them are misses for me, and that's what it was for 2 of these books. It could have been a little bit better, but I'm glad that I did read them. But yeah, anyways, that's it for this video here. Have yourselves a good day. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. Be safe out there. And I will see you all on the next video. All right. Bye.